Rahul Dravid has slammed Indian players, saying that it's not a lack of skills, not money grubbing that's behind India's poor performances. One of the best batsmen in Indian cricket history has now said that the situation is very worrying for Indian cricket and for anyone who cares about it. Rahul Dravid has said that Indian players are lacking in basic skills, and which is what has brought the Indian cricket team to the point where it is right now. The situation is extremely worrying for all cricket lovers. It's a lack of basics that have affected the performance of the Indian cricket team. And this has come from none other than Rahul Dravid himself. The man who is known as the Wall has given a stinging jibe to not just the selectors but also the players, where he said that people talk about attitude and say they don't care because there's too much money in the IPL. The main thing is their lack of skill and ability, which is more worrying for me. It's a lack of basics in Indian cricketers that has brought Indian cricketer to such a point. It raises questions of the talent and quality of players coming through. Sports editor Gaurav Bala now joins us for more on this story. Gaurav, former cricketers, cricket greats of the Indian cricket team are speaking out now about what we've been highlighting, the selective selection by our entire selection board.
Important question, Padmaja, is the BCCI listening? Are the national selectors, the five wise men of Indian cricket, listening? Saurav Ganguly has said it, Kapil Dev has come out and said it, Rahul Dravid now joining that bandwagon. These are legends of Indian cricket. They know their cricket, Padmaja. Even if we might not, these guys know their cricket. And if they're saying it, somebody needs to wake up, smell the coffee and then act on it. The one thing I would like to say here is that Rahul Dravid has come out and questioned the talent and the skill level coming through the ranks. I think the same yardstick needs to be applied to the guys who are actually in the playing 11 right now. He's talking about the guys coming through, but if the seniors who are already there ahead of them, who haven't performed for the last couple of years, are still there, how will the youngsters actually get a chance to test themselves in the most testing and punishing conditions, that is of course test match cricket? If they don't get through, if they don't play, how will they prove themselves, how will they test themselves? So I think this comment of Rahul Dravid needs to be brought into perspective as far as the entire current situation of Indian cricket is and where Indian cricket right now finds itself in, which of course is a right royal mess.
Absolutely, and in fact what essentially Rahul Dravid has said is that because some people are treated as untouchables, they just can't be touched, you know, even the thought of dropping them from the team is an absolute no-no. The very talent in our team, people who can rise through the ranks, all of that is stunted.
Absolutely, and I think that is something that the BCCI and the national selectors need to answer for. You know, they talk about players like Sachin Tendulkar deciding themselves when they want to step down, but have they actually spoken to Sachin Tendulkar? Have they figured out some sort of a roadmap for Indian cricket? How are they going to blood in these youngsters? Is domestic cricket, is Ranji Trophy cricket good enough? Can they come straight from scoring hundreds, double hundreds, triple hundreds in Ranji cricket and then come seamlessly into international cricket? If no, then how regularly are they going on the A tours? I mean, is somebody actually even looking at this? Yes, the BCCI has got a technical committee, but is the technical committee looking into these aspects?
Gaurav, I'm sorry I have to interrupt you because Vice President of the BCCI, Niranjan Shah, now joins us on the phone line. Mr. Shah, your first reaction to what Rahul Dravid has said. He said that the very basics are not in place, youngsters are not given a chance, which is why the Indian cricket is in such a mess.
I think things are going all right as far as BCCI concerned. Selectors are looking at, you can't change team overnight everything just because we have lost the series. It can happen, but transition is very necessary and it's been done. And I think selectors now is positive and they are doing it.
You know, we talk about youngsters. Yes, Mr. Shah, the question I want to ask you is that we talk about youngsters coming through. Selectors have done a big, brave thing by getting 3 youngsters into the squad. Piyush Chawla, Parvinder Ravana, Ravindra Jadeja. But the question I want to ask you is, how many out of these 3 will actually get into the playing 11? So many times in the past as well, we have seen youngsters being called into the test squad, but they've just gone as mere tourists or as members in the dressing room. They don't actually get out there and get to play. We talk about grooming these youngsters. Is it just putting them in the squad enough? How will they get to prove themselves and prove their mettle of actually playing a test match if they don't get into the playing 11?
I understand, but to get the chance is very difficult because once captain have a full faith in them, they will come. But I think these youngsters whom they will select, they have chance to make it 11. But again, it all depends upon what type of wicket they are going to give, what type of condition on that day. So this is all very essential. But you start giving chance, let them sit with the seniors, and they should come into the team later on.
Okay, Mr. Shah, many thanks for joining us with your thoughts and views on this particular topic. Padmaja, it's very, very clear. If we go by what Rahul Dravid is saying, then it's these youngsters who are getting into the squad but not in the playing 11. I think the important point is these youngsters need to get into the playing 11. They need to prove their mettle, because at this point in time, the so-called stalwarts, the seniors who've been there, done that, are not doing for India. They're not scoring for India. India's losing with them in the team. So why not give the youngsters a chance? Maybe they might fare better.
Well, absolutely. That's a question the selectors need to answer for now. Gala, thank you very much for joining us. There is a massive storm, like you must have gauged by now, with a selective selection by national selectors for the test in Nagpur, while Harbhajan and Yuvraj Singh were dropped. The likes of Sachin Tendulkar and Gautam Gambhir were retained despite persistent poor form. Former greats, including Dravid now, have slammed the selective selection policy and have alleged that the likes of Bhaji and Yuvi have been made scapegoats, while some of the non-performing seniors have been retained even now. The likes of Sachin Tendulkar, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Virender Sehwag and Gambhir have all been going through a prolonged slump, but it seems that there is a different set of rules for these players. Former Indian skipper Sunil Gavaskar has also questioned the selection policy. In fact, Gavaskar alleges that Bhaji and UV were made scapegoats by the selector. So who are the stalwarts who are living on borrowed time? Sachin Tendulkar is the most prominent among the non-performing assets of Team India. The Master Blaster has been going through a prolonged slump and has not scored a test run in 30 innings, and former greats have been calling for his head for some time now. It's not just Sachin, but a number of other senior Indian players who have done nothing of note to merit a place in the side. Dhoni's place as both captain and batsman is under a scanner after a string of poor displays. Virender Sehwag's place in the team also under the scanner. Viru has been in woeful form at the top, but still the board and selectors are persisting with him. The same applies to Sehwag's opening partner Gautam Gambhir. He's not scored a test run in almost 3 years, but still finds favour with the powers that be.
अरे भाई खुद से हो जाएं। खिलाड़ियों ने कहा है कि वो जब चाहें तब कॉल करें। राजीव शुक्ला जी ने कहा है वो अपने आप करेंगे, तो 50 साल की उम्र में भी करें। क्या फर्क पड़ता है? 0 पे 0 बना रहे हैं तो क्या हो गया? 100 सैकड़े तो बनाए हैं ना उन्होंने। ये तो इस पे कोई नहीं कह सकता है।
Well, I don't think the selector has the guts to go to Sachin and talk about his future plan. They have to take their own decision. That's what I believe. If the person is not doing well, then the selector comes. That's why their job is. So the time comes when you have to decide. You're not going to be there forever. Like he should not think about 200 test match. He should think how I'm going to perform, how I'm going to stay.
I would say, what he should do is he should talk to himself. Maybe, no, not about 200 test match. First thing he has to think about is he has to score runs. He has to come back in form. All those things will be achieved later. Main thing he has to score runs. Not only for himself but for the team, because his contribution is missing in the team.